Good morning, Kiva. Yeah, everyone, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. We are really excited today, and we've got a fantastic lineup for you. We're going to just jump right into it because we're hoping to do quite a few different things this morning. So let's keep on going. Yeah, we're changing up some roles this morning. This is your team, Sherry Shojai, Aded Flores, and myself, Naomi Castro. We're your CLP team, and we're joined by 3 amazing college practitioners today, including a student. And you guys know about CLP. We're a nonprofit. We work in California Community College Redesigned, promoting equity-minded practices and redesign of colleges. And our agenda, we're gonna try out a poll today, so we're excited about that. We're gonna give you some Chancellor office updates. We've got practitioners. We've got Rio from Long Beach, Stephen from Fresno, and Paulina from East LA College. And then we're also going to try and crowdsource a student support positions kind of document. So we'll get there too. And then we've got some more resources to share, and then our hour will be up. So let's go on. So now we have a very quick poll, and we have, let's see, 2 questions. And so if you could sign on to those, if someone can put in the chat, if you can see the poll. All right, excellent. We'll give it just a few more seconds here. So we're asking if this problem-solving webinar, how many have you attended? We did them throughout the spring, and have these webinars supported your work as a practitioner? And there, I will point out that we've got some private messages in the chat if you can attend to those. All right, great. Okay, we've got just a couple more people to vote. Got about 71% have voted. You might be stalling out there. I think that's all right. All right, we'll go there. Cool, excellent. And we will, we're gonna do another poll at the very end as well. So thank you for that. So if we can go on to the next slide, thanks. So just a reminder for these, we really use the chat function a lot. We've got 83 folks, so it's hard for folks to chime in. So we rely on the chat. And if you could do us a favor, and when you do use the chat, if you could direct your question in all caps. So if it's a question to Long Beach, all caps Long Beach, and that helps us to route those questions, or to Fresno. And if you need some technical help, if you write tech in the chat, then Adair will message you privately. And so first up, we have our fantastic colleague. She's been with us a few times already, and we're so happy and excited to welcome back Rio from Long Beach City College. And we're focusing on student support professionals in this webinar. And different ways to support students. And so Rio is a coordinator at Long Beach City College and supports dual enrollment. So Rio, take it away.
Good morning. I know it's an early one, so I appreciate Naomi letting me get some coffee this morning. So I shake your hand with a very good heart. My name is Rio Medina. I'm coming from Long Beach City College. I currently serve as the Career Pathways coordinator. So today, if we can proceed forward, we're going to be talking a little, we were asked a couple of questions, and so I want to be able to kind of highlight what I do, and then also if I had somebody, what could I do? So again, I'm the coordinator at Long Beach City College. I participate in the Career Pathways Regional Project as well. And so some of the 3 ways I support students, obviously doing above and beyond of things that in regards to dual enrollment, as we all know, one is most importantly being self-aware and self-regulated. For folks that are in the dual enrollment kind of work, We know that things happen on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes things change from a day-to-day basis. And so for me, it's important to just kind of be mindful of where I'm at. Just kind of making sure that, you know, I lean on the support that I can, but also making sure that I do the things that I can within the time frame that I have. Because it's, as my father being a veteran, a Marine veteran, I should say specifically, I was raised with the ideology and the perspective of making sure you can adapt and overcome. So I think that's just kind of some wise words for folks that are entering the dual enrollment field or have been it for a long time, to kind of be mindful that it's important to just, you know, making sure that you can adapt in things when they get a little funky. One of the other ways too is making sure that my team and I are data driven and making decisions that matter. So there's a lot of things that are happening right now in our society. And so with our students, because Long Beach, we serve primarily disenfranchised students throughout the city of Long Beach, we want to be sure that we're making decisions that are going to be relevant to our students, but also making sure that they're also going to be according to being able to provide that narrative that unfortunately sometimes is not being provided. So making, again, decisions that matter based off of our students' perspective and their experiences, but then also making sure that we look at data and we also provide evaluation methods and models inside our program. While it's not always easy to maintain those models and making sure you maintain those evaluation procedures, for our team, they're extremely vital, so that, again, making sure that we are relevant to the students and providing the students the services that they really need. And then most importantly, creating and sustaining spaces that provide and nurture community. We are a community college. We serve the community. So I always tell my students that that's the first portion of who I am, is making sure that it's not always about academics. It's not always about data. It's not always about policy. But sometimes in ways too, it's also making sure that you create spaces. For instance, at LBCC and through our specialized dual enrollment program, we've been able to spearhead and launch an ambassador program where our dual enrollment students are able to participate in dual enrollment classes, but then also participate in a smaller cohort community where they give us outreach ideas. They actually develop certain weekly updates and reminders so they can inform students about things like time management and what does it mean to be a dual enrollment student. So it's more of a peer-to-peer connection, and we're actually building that out more and more. And I feel that it's just has really kind of redefined dual enrollment in a lot of ways. Again, it's not just the student going to class and getting that information and getting that academic support, but it's also getting that student service support and integrating them into higher education before they begin. So another question that was asked to me as well as we move forward, if I had twice the amount of time to support students, what would I be able to do? And if I had another person, their duties, what would they include? And I literally sat in front of this presentation slide for a good 15 minutes, just kind of thinking of all the things that we can do if we had some additional support. So kind of background information. I'm only one of 2 dual enrollment team members. So we also support a graduate intern who's half-time. But unfortunately, right now, it's just me and my manager. And so with me and my manager, you know, things are definitely being able to, I'm so sorry. I think there's some background information.
Hey folks, please mute. Thank you.
No worries. So yeah, so if I had twice as time to support students, what would I do? I am a graduate student of Cal State Long Beach in their public policy and administration program. So I'm all about research. So I feel like if I had a little bit more time, I would really be able to define that research and be able to provide additional materials. And like I said, I've tried to put a lot of evaluation models into our program so that we can make sure that on a term-to-term basis, we are actually serving our students with relevant information and relevant resources. And so if I had a little bit more time, I could probably further define that research and further develop that time to really analyze those really important evaluation models that we had. And then most importantly is, again, being able to also provide that quantitative data, right? We always have that qualitative, but it's really important to actually get those interviews, be able to get those quotes votes from the students, and that takes time. And since I am one of two people, unfortunately, I don't have as much time to really create those marketing tools that I love so much and I love to spend so much time on. But unfortunately, I just don't have the space and the capacity. And then finally, being able, although I have been able to really develop certain things with my team that are creative and innovative, I feel like being able to be more consistent would allow me, if I had somebody, I would be allowed to do that on a more consistent basis, especially redeveloping the way that we support our alternative ed students, because we do have 3 different types of alternative education in Long Beach Unified School District. And for those students who are dealing with different types of educational trauma, or who may be identified as at risk, and even if they're in the comprehensive high school, still being able to really define that support, because it does look a little bit differently from our other students who are maybe in the middle or more high achieving. And then finally, if I had another person, what would their duties include? So it'd be a wide range, because these are all the things that I support my manager with, or I actually do myself. So it'd be like general clerical duties. So unfortunately, we do not have somebody who pertains to our outreach. I coordinate and I participate and effortlessly put that information out there to our community. I also maintain our general account and email. And I also do the majority of the manual data inputting, including our intern as well. As you know, my manager is also our, accountant for our team. So she's the one who's preparing all the necessary documents for payroll and purchasing. But again, if we had somebody, maybe her duties would look a lot differently as well. And then finally, also registration assistance. So as we know, with dual enrollment, that's a big portion of what we do and how we do it. But unfortunately, we don't have anybody specifically hired through admissions or record or through our team to be able to do that. So I prepare all the documents, I manually verify all their information, I put them in this really nice Excel folder, and put all the dual enrollment forms in a very nice SharePoint folder, and I send that off to admissions, and I'm the ones that in contact with them, making sure that the students are officially registered. And that can take some time, especially when you have over 200 plus students, in addition to the credit by exam and articulation agreements that we also participate with. And then finally, currently right now, unfortunately, we also don't have any academic or career advisement or support and counseling specific for our dual enrollment students. So currently we're collaborating with our Welcome Center and providing students the opportunity to go through our express counseling. But in my mind, being a community college student myself, and also making sure and being very well aware of the importance of educational plans, my goal, my utopia would be that all the dual enrollment students are able to actually receive an educational plan by the time that they complete their dual enrollment process, whether it's just for a term or whether it's for them participating in multiple terms. Because I do believe that once you have that plan in front of you, it also destigmatizes community college, which is also a big thing that we're also working on as far as our team, making sure that we re-identify the importance and the benefits of community colleges, because unfortunately we are still working in a culture where it's very driven in regards to having those stigmas pertaining to community college students. So if we had that extra added layer, I think it would also definitely redefine, right, the way that community colleges are able to benefit high school students even after they graduate from high school. So hopefully I didn't take too much time, but I think I kind of went through it all.
That was great. That was fantastic. So I'm going to give us a few minutes to ask Rio some questions in the chat. And while folks might be composing some questions, I have a question for participants. So if you click on the participant bar, it might be at the top menu or the bottom menu of your screen. When it pops up, you know that there are ways to respond. There's a yes button and a no button. So I'm going to ask our participants, how many of you in your dual enrollment program, whether you're at a high school or at a college, have somebody who is not an instructor or a counselor? So like a classified position, a coordinator, a director, a student support specialist at your site. So click yes if that's a yes, and no if it's a no. And if you have any questions for Rio, now would be the time to put those in the chat. Ooh, we got a lot of yes. Well, we've got 12 yeses. We got 4 no's.
Somebody also wanted to ask the question again.
Oh, the question again. Thank you, thank you. So the question is, do you have in your dual enrollment program, whether you're coming from a high school or from a college or from somewhere else, County Office of Education, do you have somebody like Rio? Do you have a classified position, somebody who's not an instructor and not a counselor, who works to advance your dual enrollment, works in your dual enrollment program? Right, we got a couple yeses in the chat. If you could also do it on the button under participants, that would be super helpful, because then we have like a little quantitative record there. That's excellent. 21 yes, 24 yes, 11 no's, and lots of folks saying they would like one. Here's a question from Mario. Do you envision ed plans for dual enrollment students, including different components that the typical ed plan for general college students have? And would you expect that creating ed plans for dual enrollment students would be a collective efforts between the high school and college, students and parents?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the first question, I would kind of first and foremost, I think, also identify the student's educational goal, because sometimes we do have some students who are coming to our campus to complete general education requirements because they are definitely going to that four-year university. So I think first and foremost, having that conversation with them, just kind of identifying what their educational goals are. But most importantly, I think any student, especially because we provide dual enrollment classes at Long Beach City College, not at the high school. So I think that's also something important to remember too, is that we actually provide them on site through our campus. So they're mixed. So they're taking classes with other community college students. A lot of times we're seeing that our students are coming back reoccurring. So we have the program available to students as early as their summer of their 11th grade year, so right before they enter junior year. So a lot of them end up completing, up to 13 to 14 to even 20. We had this one student this past term who completed over 20 units of different types of major requirements and general education requirements. So I think being able to just have a plan, one, identifying what those classes look like, even if they decide to transfer to another university, but then also having an honest conversation, because we have the college promise. I think it would be a great recruitment tool, in my opinion. So I kind of envision it as a general ed. And I most definitely think this should be a collaborative effort. I'm all about collaboration, as you can see, but it's definitely something that has to integrate everybody who's supporting this specific student. And I think it's also important to also bring in those high school counselors, because again, for them, they may have different levels of training when it comes to higher ed, and especially again about community college. So unfortunately, that culture is still very prominent in our high schools, where we have some high school counselors who, for whatever reason, have their own sense of what they perceive for the students to achieve. So I think it's also important to also be able to kind of integrate everybody. We have done different counselor trainings at the high schools, but in regards to the ed plan specifically, I think you would definitely have to be a collaborative effort, for sure. For sure. Wow, somebody
Excellent.
has 5
Thank you
people
so
on their
much.
team.
I know, right? This is really exciting. So folks are sharing the folks that they have on their teams in the chat, which is wonderful, wonderful. So somebody else who can really kind of talk to that ed plan question as well is, we have a counselor. Yay! So thank you so much, Rio. Rio's going to stick around. She'll be able to chime in later as well. But we've got Stephen Caro from Fresno City College, and Stephen's going to talk to us about what he does to support dual enrollment. Take it away, Stephen.
Well, good morning, everyone. And when I was asked to pick the 3 most important things that I do as a dual enrollment counselor, that was really tough, because we do so many things. But I decided to break it down into 3 main categories. First, how I support the student directly, but then also how I can support the parent, because they are with the child each day, and then how I can support the high school, which is in the front lines of supporting the students. So first, regarding direct student support, so pre-pandemic, I would go to the classroom and assist the students in applying and navigating through the nuances of the CCC Apply application. And of course, we can't do that now. So we've created videos and PDF reference guides to help the students, and we've had them translated into Spanish and Hmong. And I assist the students with the registration forms And thankfully, it's not a one-person job. We do have folks in A&R that are directly assigned to dual enrollment that assist with that. So I'm thankful for that. But I also support the students with Canvas and tech support. So again, pre-pandemic, what I would do is go to the classroom and help students to log into their Canvas so that they could see their assignments, and I'd show them various features of Canvas. Of course, since we can't do that, I've created videos, tutorial videos, like how to log into Canvas, how to find their Fresno City College ID number so that they can log into Canvas, how to order transcripts in WebAdvisor, just different videos that can help the students to work through their technical issues. And if I can't answer their technical issues, then we also have persons on the Fresno City College campus that are dedicated to help students with Canvas. And then also, we do provide college plans to the students, so that's another aspect of support. And then moving on to parents, so we have parent information meetings, and I really strive to emphasize to parents that their children will be college students. This is no joke. So with dual enrollment, there are benefits to dual enrollment, but there are also serious responsibilities because a student must get a C or better in order to pass. And so if a student gets an F in a class, they're getting an F not just in high school, but also in college. So I really try to help parents see how they need to support their child in being successful with a college class. So I provide them with, because if a student fails, you know, it affects their GPA, it affects their future financial aid, it affects their student academic progress. So there are ramifications. So I really try to help parents see the importance of supporting their student. And I provide them with dual enrollment handbooks and brochures, which are also translated into Spanish and Hmong. I also tell them about the resources that are available to them and their student. For example, if their child is learning disabled, we have someone in the DSPS department at Fresno City dedicated to helping dual enrolled students. I let them know about the tutoring we have available. In fact, for our online dual enrollment classes, we require that a Fresno City College tutor be in the classroom at least once a week. So anyways, we do everything we can to support the students. And then we also have student registration nights, which are very similar to the parent information meetings. And I would say that one of the biggest things I do is support the high school. So one thing I do is train all dual enrollment instructors on their responsibilities as a dual enrollment instructor. So I'll have Zoom meetings, I've created videos to train them in their responsibilities. I explain the grading and attendance mandates, how to use WebAdvisor, how to use Canvas, and I'll point them in the right direction for various resources that can help them. And then also, with our dual enrollment program, we require that each dual enrollment classroom have a facilitator in addition to the instructor. So I'll train the facilitators. So I'll explain to them their responsibilities, that they're not just a babysitter in the classroom. They have to keep students on task. That's their responsibility. So I teach these facilitators how to use Canvas to keep track of student grades and their submissions. So every facilitator has to sign a FERPA agreement so that they can have access to all the student records so that they can effectively assist the students who really need help. So I train the facilitators, and then also I provide support to the high school coordinators and counselors. Fresno City we require every high school to have a contact person for dual enrollment. So I work with that person and I assist them through the entire process, from online enrollment to completing registration forms. And in fact, 3 weeks from today, we're starting spring 2020 registration. So I'm going to have to get with all my coordinators to train them on our new paperless process so that everything goes smoothly on our side and on the high school side. So those three things, working directly with the student, working with the parents, working with the high schools, is how I support the students. And so if I could double my time or even triple my time, I would say on the next slide that the number one thing is I wish I had more time to meet with students one-on-one to discuss their college plans, to discuss with them the various pathways available to them and their career goals. And then a second thing I wish I had more time to do is to create and innovate and simplify dual enrollment processes to make things easier for everybody involved. And so right now I'm working on the dual enrollment webpage at Fresno City College to make it more user-friendly and to include information that would be helpful to everyone involved. And also looking for ways to streamline the paperless process. Right now we're using fillable PDF forms, but we're trying to create an online form. So I'm working on that, but it would be nice to have a lot more time to work on these two things. So yeah, that's my role as a counselor at Fresno City College.
That's fantastic. We, as anticipated, we have a ton of questions for you. So I'll try and consolidate some of them. So folks first want to know if the classes are on in non-COVID times, right? If classes are on the high school campus, and about how many students participate.
Oh, well, normally we have 4 different types of dual enrollment classes. First, we have completely online. So we have a Fresno City College instructor online and the students in the classroom at the high school. Second, we have students from the high school who come to the Fresno City College campus to take classes there. And then third, we have high school teachers who have been approved to be college instructors. And then fourth, we have Fresno City College staff that we send to the high schools to teach the dual enrollment classes there. So depending on the format that the high school has chosen to use, we train them accordingly.
Fantastic. And then there's a lot of questions. Oh, and how many students? I think about 5,000 normally under non-COVID
I think for spring, we're going to get close to 5,000 students.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. And so there's a lot of questions about the facilitators. So are they are they high school instructors? Are they classified folks? And who pays for them?
Well, so the facilitators could be anyone of the high school's choosing. And so my job is to make sure that whoever they choose, I train them in how to do their job properly. And I've learned over time that, especially with online classes, high school students have a challenge working online. So the facilitator's job is super important to keep the high school students on task to do their work online. So we do provide a stipend to the high schools to pay for these things. I don't work with the financial part of this. So I don't know how much they get paid or whatever, but we do help with some of the costs involved with having these supplemental things.
Excellent. And then one last question. Do students get an ed plan as dual enrollment students?
They do. Well, it depends. We have some schools, like, for example, C-Tech High School and Design Science High School, where the students who graduate from high school will graduate with an associate's degree, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So we work with those students to create college ed plans. And of course, as necessary, we work with other schools too, but particularly with those who are actually working toward a degree.
And then one last question, and then we're going to move to our next presenter. Of those that many thousands of students, are they in CCAP courses, or do you have CCAP and non-CCAP agreements?
We have both. So the non-CCAP are what we call high school enrichment. And so we do work with high school enrichment, but that is a different department at Fresno City College. Most of our students are CCAP, so most of our classes are closed to the public.
Mm-hmm. Mhm. And then I keep saying one last question, but one last question is who are the regular teachers or the majority of your teachers, or is it kind of split half and half between high school teachers who meet minimum quals and quote unquote regular college instructors? And then they also are asking if any of these are articulated, but you count articulation in a different bucket because it's not a college class, it's college credit.
Well, I'm looking at our chart, and it varies from semester to semester. Of course, with COVID, a lot of it's online, so a lot of our teachers are Fresno City College teachers. But I would say under normal circumstances, most of our dual enrollment instructors are high school teachers with master's degrees who qualify to teach our college classes. And really, that's the best way to do it because they're face-to-face with the students every day, and it just seems to work best that way.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephen. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate it. And next up, we have someone who provides student supports to dual enrollment students who is a college student herself. So Paulina de Ita is a student ambassador at East Los Angeles College. And we're so lucky and excited that Paulina is going to be here. And Paulina was a dual enrollment student herself. So Paulina, it's all you.
Good morning. Like Naomi said, she gave me a great introduction. I'm so glad to be here. I am a student ambassador. Here at my college, we have a designated department. We do have only like 20-25 staff, but there is other student ambassadors like me. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk about what my personal responsibilities are. So some things I do are recruit students in the dual enrollment program. I encourage them as well if their high school isn't providing the course they want, they can take it out of their own time. I educate them on ELAC services as well because some dual enrollment students don't know or aren't aware that they can use our services at ELAC, like tutoring services, the library, and other services here we use at ELAC. A lot of students don't know the benefits of dual enrollment, so I also educated them on that. I do now in these times, I do call them personally and encourage them to sign up. I let them know what courses are offered at their high school. We also hold workshops. Currently, we are holding, here at ELAC, we're holding ECP registration workshops for dual enrollment students, getting them applied to ELAC, enrolling them in the course they are interested as well. So in the next slide, I was asked if I had another person to assist me or if I had more time, what I would do with that time. What I would like to do is encourage more high school students to take courses outside of their schedule, as well as letting them know that there isn't just one direct path that they're aware of, which is usually just joining a 4-year university or going to community college and transferring out. They can get an associate's degree, a certificate program. They don't have to spend a lot of time in college if that's not what they want to do. There is quick ways to get a career started without having to do those 4+ years. I also want to encourage more students to explore different things while in high school, because here at ELAC, they're allowed to take 12 units, I believe, and the courses are free to them. And as dual enrollment students, they also get the books free to them as well. Another thing I would love to do is host more workshops on how to access our portals here at ELAC, because high school students do struggle on that as well, because it is a challenging change from being a high school student to actually being a college student. And we also encourage them that they are taking college courses, which means that they need to be aware that this can damage their GPA in college, but it's also a great opportunity to get general ed courses out of the way and be a little further ahead of their peers when they do enter that 4-year university or if they transfer into a community college. There's nothing wrong with being a community college student. And I think having these dual enrollment courses everywhere is a great opportunity for all high school students.
Thank you, Paulina. That was fantastic. I'm wondering if anyone has questions, feel free to put them in the chat, but I have some questions for you. So I'm wondering, what classes did you take as a high school student? What college classes did you take?
I took a psychology course, a communications course, and because I'm a nursing major, I was offered in high school to do a intro to being a medical assistant. So I took some courses on medical assisting. So that's what was offered at my high school. A lot of different high schools, we have different programs available to them.
And did any of those courses help you decide to become a nursing student?
Yeah, for sure. Being in those medical assisting programs kind of solidified my decision of wanting to become a nurse because I've always wanted to do that, but having that opportunity definitely made my interest become bigger in that field. And
Oh,
learning
that's
more
so
about it
cool.
was great.
That's so cool because that's what the research says, and now you're confirming it. So that's awesome. And then my other question for you is, what are the most kind of common questions that high school students ask you?
They like knowing if they are going to get college credit for it, as well as what are the benefits. And like I said, the portal and the services offered at ELAC, they're not aware of that, which is kind of, it's disappointing, but they are available to them. And if I'm talking to a student and they're like on the fence, I like encouraging them that there is tutoring services available. So if they're not ready to take a college course or they don't feel prepared, I do let them know that there's tutoring and their professors are open to speaking about them. They just need to speak up because also high school students are kind of used to being guided or they're not encouraged to speak out. But in college, we all know that you need to speak out if you need help or assistance. And most professors are friendly and open to helping students and giving them that extra support.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much, Paulina. So Paulina is also going to be hanging out, and we'll definitely, ask her some more questions in a few minutes. We have another link that we're going to share in the chat. So this is audience participation time, folks. So we have a crowdsourced document that we would like folks to go to. So the link is in the chat. To get Zoom to stop taking over your entire screen, you can press the escape button and it'll make it a little bit smaller. And open up this document in a web browser. And I believe that Sherry is going to share it for us. She's gonna do a little switcheroo here. And this document outlines the 3 positions that we just heard from. So a student ambassador, a classified support specialist, and a counselor assigned to dual enrollment. And then we have 2 kinds of columns there. So one column is must have. So what are the things that you think must be in this job description, in this role? What must a student ambassador, we need them to do? What does a classified support specialist, we have to have them do this particular thing? And then for a counselor, what are the things that we really, really want a counselor to be able to do? And then right next to it in the lighter color, there's a nice to have. And so we're all about the aspirations, right? And so what are the aspirations? What are things we would love it if we had time, resources, that just kind of that luxury of being able to really do a job well and to its fullest, that kind of enrichment. What would those things be? And so you are all, oh, I see people writing in it already. This is fantastic. So we're going to take just a few minutes and have folks like write, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, you guys are brilliant. Okay, and we will also make sure that this is available. So as folks are doing that, I'm going to make a couple of other announcements. We do have all of these webinars are all available, all the past ones, the recordings, the presentations, as well as any documents that may have come up during the presentation. And those are all on the CLP website. And we can put that, oh, yeah, yay. Oh, Stephen put in a link to the Fresno Dual Enrollment YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And we'll make sure that that's on our our recordings as well, and our links. We also have, last month we shared a resource that was also crowdsourced, and it was dual enrollment onboarding. So resources that folks have and that they're happy to share, including a lot of the folks who are on the line. ELAC and Long Beach shared a bunch of items too, to help you with your onboarding. We still have folks writing in here. This is fantastic. So I'm going to read some of these. Help students understand the benefits of dual enrollment, training for interaction with K-12 students. These are all under Student Ambassador. Testing the platform with computer systems at the high school. One thing I have found students really ask about a lot is, and instructors saying they need help with, is that students may need help troubleshooting on their own computer, and that's very hard to do with a student virtually. So help with that is really fantastic. We'll spend a few more minutes on this one. Teaching the platforms, Canvas, e-services, helping students to find resources, just like Paulina was talking about. Tutoring, where's tutoring available? How do I do it? Even walking them through, sharing your screen and walking them through on the website how to find those things. With the classified support specialist, maybe a coordinator, maybe a director kind of position, helping with CAPMA documentation, that would be for articulation, maintaining and inputting data, able to develop efficient and sustainable onboarding and evaluation procedures, clearly communicate with students. And Rio has shared with us in the past that Long Beach and she used Remind 101 as a way to communicate with the dual enrollment students. They can sign up for that and get texts or emails, however they prefer. Create and convert fillable forms or make forms online. And then for the counselor, wow, folks have a lot to say there. Help students with the application, enrollment, registration. Some folks also have someone like Rio, a coordinator, do that work as well. Have instruction for CCC about the college systems, Canvas, explain college grading, teaching a college class, that's under the nice to have. Stephen's been able to teach some classes as well. And it provides a really nice connection with students and also helps to inform that other work, right? So then you can see where students are having challenges. Let's see, career advising workshops, yeah, things like that. And ed plans have come up a lot today. People would love to see more in the way of ed plans. And so that's a very exciting role. I know that there's some differences in how our funding formula works with abbreviated ed plans and full ed plans and special admit students, so dual enrollment students. So there's some issues there, but yeah, that would be very helpful. Ooh, and catching early alert flags from dual enrollment students in Starfish or whatever your early alert system is. Supporting dual enrollment coursework with transfer students for the I Get See breath. So having counselors really join in that design process where we help design out our programs. Fantastic. I love all of this. So we're going to go, we can keep this screen up. That's fine. Please keep writing things in. I did want to make some announcements. We actually went through this I forgot to put a slide in, full disclosure, on our announcements. So I will go ahead and do those now. But there were 2 dual enrollment announcements from the Chancellor's office on August 19th. And the first one is the Chancellor's office was required by the CCAP legislation add-on, AB 30, to provide kind of a template for a K-12 form that CCAP students could use only once. So you know that cumbersome dual enrollment form, many colleges have finally moved away from the paper form and moving to the electronic form. But the Chancellor's office released a memo and a template. Now, it's very important, and I think our Chancellor's office colleagues would agree, it's very important to understand you do not have to use this template. It's provided as an example of the kinds of things you might want to ask. And so there is that, and that memo is fantastic. And then also, not in the terribly distant past, we had some new legislation passed, SB 554, that allows for adult students who are in a high school GED or high school equivalency program. So they're adults, but they're in a program to earn a high school credential. It allows them to also be special admit or dual enrollment students. And so the Chancellor's office also put out a memo that has to do with that. Oh, I just realized I sent this to a private individual. I'm sorry about that. So there's a link there to the Chancellor's office memo about adult dual enrollment. And it's basically an update letting us know, that they're updating some of the MIS elements. If that means nothing to you, it means something to your A&R folks. So you might want to let them know about that. And they're putting in a new CCC apply field so that students can sign up as a special admit student, because they will indicate that they are an adult student, but they're in a high school equivalency program. Yeah. And then the other memo is the template that you do not have to, you are not required to use that template, but you might find it helpful. Okay, great. This is fantastic. So any questions about that, we always encourage you to contact the Chancellor's office directly. And we definitely, are happy to make introductions or to also take a stab at any of those questions. You can always write us. But we also have Basecamp. And so Basecamp is a great place to get information about dual enrollment, any questions you have about dual enrollment, please go ahead and join our Basecamp. You can send an email to Eder, or you can send one to me, and we can add you to Basecamp. We're always happy to do that. And then I did want to do one more poll before we go. And we have a little bit of time here, so this is fantastic. When do we ever have enough time? Well, today we do, so this is exciting. So this poll is actually about today's webinar. Oh, thank you, Eder. Eder put his email in the chat. So if you want to be added to Basecamp, there's like 90, 100 practitioners in there, and they're from high school, they're from colleges, they're from county offices of ed. They're from all over the place. And so they definitely share information and practices and opportunities around dual enrollment. So it's a great place to go. And so we have another poll. And let's see. This is about today's webinar. So we would like to know if the information presented today is supporting your work as a dual enrollment practitioner, and it's your standard Likert scale. And then we're also going to share some more resources. But if you can take a few moments to answer the poll. If you could put in the chat, if you're able to see the poll, that would help me out. It's not open. Okay, let me try and open that. There we go. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We definitely use this kind of feedback to help so much with our webinars. There's some really specific questions in the chat about adult ed dual enrollment. So that might indicate it'd be a good topic for another webinar. I know of 2 colleges that are have either launched or are exploring launching dual enrollment for adult ed students who are in a high school equivalency program right now. And that would be Chaffey College and I believe Skyline College as well. So if your college or if you're in an adult school working with a college who is looking at offering dual enrollment for adult students, please send us an email or drop some note in the chat here and we will contact you. Let's see, 56 folks have voted. We'll just give it another couple seconds here. Anybody else want to vote in the poll? Okay, we'll go ahead and end that up. So we do have some more resources to share with you. We share these throughout, but it's always worthwhile to put them in again. So again, all of the past webinars and the resources from those can be accessed at the CLP website. We have those there. We did do, a lot of folks have been asking about the electronic form and moving to an electronic form. And so we have a write-up about that. And I do want to really emphasize with folks that if you're moving towards an electronic form, which is fantastic, please consider talking to the other departments on your campus first, because there might be something already in the works. Your IT department, your A&R, they might already have been vetting or investigating some of these issues, which is terribly exciting, but you also don't want to kind of spin your wheels investigating a particular form or another when that work is already happening on campus. So join forces. And other departments like IT might not understand or might gain from understanding how an electronic form would affect your work as well. And then finally, I want to add in the dual enrollment resources for onboarding. This was a collective effort for about a dozen practitioners met, pulled together some resources. There are some really great examples in there of how you might streamline communication with students. Glendale has done a lot of work around that, not overwhelming students with too many steps, but giving them kind of just-in-time information. And our friends at Long Beach shared their entire Google Drive that has all their communication materials, a lot of their processes, checklists for students, and things like that. They're just really helpful in figuring out that workflow and how to communicate well with students. We have just a few minutes left. I'm wondering if any of our presenters had anything else that came up that they wanted to share, but they didn't get a chance to. Rio, Stephen, Paulina, is there anything else you wanted to share with us?
I'm okay. I think I was able to provide everything. Yeah.
All right, great. Stephen, anything else? Any last words?
No, I'm interested in reading your article on moving to completely electronic because as I mentioned, I'm working on that. We did just this week create a dual enrollment email address specifically for all of these digital forms that we're receiving now. So that was one way we're thinking of doing it, but we're open to new ideas. But I think at Fresno City College we have a pretty robust program, so I'm happy with it, but we can improve also.
And I would direct folks to one of our past webinars we did that focused, I think it was maybe the second one that we did last, that would be in early April, that focused on moving to an electronic form and an electronic workflow. And we had folks from Foothill College, we had folks from Chaffey College, I might be missing somebody. There was a lot that they had to say about that. It's really informative. And one of the things that I've been hearing a lot from the field is that it's really important to have logic in your electronic form that routes students to different places and also problem solves within the form. So there's some lessons there, but check out that webinar to learn more. Paulina, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sorry, Paulina. Naomi, there's a question about if any of the colleges have implemented a fully online registration process for dual enrollment. So Long Beach has. So our dual enrollment process is completely online. Our dual enrollment form is linked on our website, and students, it's a fillable form that they're able to download and save to their computer. And then they can upload it to the ECPP application, which is our specialized dual enrollment program. And it's a application that they can open up, and they can, and even folks that can go on our website, you can play around and say that, yes, you are an LBUSD student, and kind of see what that framework looks like. And the students are able to upload their dual enrollment form. We have it synced in a file, so we're able to download those forms, and then being able to go ahead and send them off to admissions and records. Everything right now is electronic, so we've made certain kind of criteria allowing that for LBUSD students, they just need their parent and guardian signature and their student signature, no parent signature. But if they're doing individual dual enrollment, they have to go through the regular procedures of getting their signature by their counselor. It can be an electronic signature, but they can also upload it to the admissions folder, and admissions and records process it electronically as well.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I think that Chaffey College, the next phase for and they may have this in place already, is having those electronic forms automatically enroll the students. And so that the A&R would not have to, while they would see them, touch them, verify them, they wouldn't have to print them out and hand enroll students. So that's also, that's the back end of the electronic workflow. But before we go, and we are at time, Paulina, did you want to close us out? You're our student. Anything else you want to say?
Just thank you for joining us. I'm glad we could support you guys, and I hope you guys learned something new from the other two presenters as well. I'm glad that my information seemed to be useful to you guys. So hopefully you guys can implement some of the things we mentioned in this webinar in your own programs.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Stephen, Rio, Paulina. Thank you, CLP crew. And thank you, everybody who joined in. We're going to leave this chat open for just about another minute. But you can always email us. And we always want you to email us any success stories, especially if they have anything to do with something you learned on one of these webinars. That really helps us to kind of measure our impact. So thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.